capital things that need to be attended to. The information technology staff addition, the database administrator is kind of a vague title, but what is, I understand this, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of this will be to harmonize and maximize the ability of the database information. In other words, the computers of various village departments being able to talk to each other and be integrated with each other, and to avoid data duplication, and also to maximize their utilization. So it appears to be that that's a step in the right direction. We're looking at trying to spend some money now to make money later. Debt service, that's an important thing in looking at where we are at now, because it seems to actually have spiked. They just feel that it kind of hit an upper level now, but it will go down in future years, and that's a good thing. That money is going to be going toward the one thing that has been neglected in the past, and that is setting aside money for capital improvements so that we negate the necessity for future tax increases. The one thing that does appear to be, and also by the way, the road work is in there, and it's starting to work on the road work plan, and that's something that, again, you can pay me now, pay me later, has to be done. Two things for 40 years of attending these types of meetings that are constants. Number one, very few people come in and say, please raise my taxes. Number two, the closer the unit of government is to the people it serves, the more heat it will generate because you're the closest target. So those are constants, and they're to be accepted as part of the process. The 15% reserves, I see they're a bit above that, so there is a bit of wiggle room if necessary with regard to our village finances. The one area that does not appear, I think, to be addressed adequately, and that is the cost of development to the village, particularly residential developments, versus the benefits that they bring in. And I'm talking about impact fees to a certain extent because they've now been restricted in terms of what village can charge. But even then, it only appears to be a fraction. Let's put that somewhat into perspective. Let's say you add, give or take, 150 homes. You're talking about the population increase based on that number of homes justifying another police officer. And it's good that we're adding to that, but yet the police department, even with the staff addition, is still well below state and national averages. The police department is severely understaffed. So we're looking at an area here where if we are going to bring in large-scale developments, those developments have to be able, or they have to be able to pay their own way in terms of the tax revenue that they will generate to the community. And even though if we hit $800, $860, somewhere in that vicinity as a one-time fee, it really doesn't, it doesn't look like that necessarily covers the long term. So it does seem that part of this is something that needs to be explained a little more fully and investigated more fully. And finally, one of the other things that I looked at here is the impact of major developments. Once online, will they be adding enough revenue into the mix? And I don't want to necessarily use a single out Abbott because I think that's a convenient one, but that's not the only one. Right now, because there's no development there, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, where we are at with that is that there's not, it's at a low level of land valuation. Once that land is built on, that is going to increase the valuation and increase revenue. So at this point in time, there's some hope that major new developments, once online, will add into the revenue stream because we don't want to see property tax increases in the future. And finally, the last comment there is, will we be looking at, and one thing that's, it's hard to look in the crystal ball, and that is, will we be looking at another tax increase next year, or are we at a point in time where this is an investment now into perhaps spending off future tax increases? So after going through the budget and sitting down with some of the people a couple of weeks ago to go through this, these are some of the observations that I had, and also some of the questions that remain, I think, fair game to be addressed, and hopefully they will be addressed. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the presentation and the work that's been done. Thank you.
There are no more signs, Mr. President.
Anyone else wishing to speak on the budget? Agenda.
Chuck, 8757 Winchester Drive. Believe it or not, I had no intention of talking today, but I can't help it. Just, too many things. The presentation, Kathy, that you put up, it has some discrepancies with the presentation that was posted as the 2007 budget presentation that's on the website currently. So I don't know if that's, you know, what the explanation of the differences are, but specifically in some cases where you refer to the various operating expenses such as public safety and public works. You indicated that those numbers that were posted on your presentation were post the new expenses. And if you look at the presentation that's on the website, actually, those numbers are all higher. So I don't know if that was a mistake or oversight, but those numbers need to be updated in order to be accurate with the new programs. Some of the questions I have are, and I sure would like to hear some comments on these, are the $2.2 million, that's borrowing. We were also proud of our mill rate before and how we kept it down. Well, borrowing is going to have to be paid back. So I haven't heard a thing yet in terms of how that $2.2 million is to be paid back. I think citizens deserve to know that. The capital outlay, I was banging my drum all by myself for a long time about this, and that is preparing for the future. I've spoken to other municipalities, and standard practice in other cases is saving money up. Mr. Jankowski alluded to the debt service payments leading to building up reserves. Maybe I misunderstood him, but building up reserves to purchase things in the future, I don't get that connection. But of course, I'm in favor of reducing debt. So I'd like to hear why we're not planning for the future better. Again, limited funding, a normal practice in other municipalities. This way, when we decide to build a road like 80th Street, we're not taking our capital outlays from $1 million to $1 million in 1 year, which needs to be paid for. We were so proud of our 2007 budget. Well, now we're doing a procedure to transfer money from another fund into the 2007 budget to make ends meet. That to me suggests that something was wrong in planning. I think citizens still need to be reminded that of the entire, I couldn't read it when I was sitting, but I think of the entire 18-some million dollars of budget expenses, we're paying $2.6 million in debt service, which is something over 12%, I think. And now this $2.2 million of borrowing is going to be around 11%. So that means of this coming year's budget, nearly 25% is to cover either past sins or future sins by borrowing more. I appreciated the comments about property taxes and how we've increased them to the cap as imposed by the state legislature. I would like to hear from all of you if there was no cap, would we be raising property taxes more, or is it because of the cap that we're keeping things in line as we are? Lastly, the water utility still bugs me. I've asked questions about this in the past, never got a clear answer. But we're buying water from Kenosha. My understanding is that we're the largest customer to the city of Kenosha. And I'd like to know, are we enjoying, and I hope the answer is yes, are we enjoying the best rate Kenosha has? Or are we paying rate than some other customers of the city? That's it. Thanks.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Hearing none, I'll close citizens' comments. Move on to item 2, actually close the budget hearing, and open it up to item 3, the Board of Trustee comments. Mike, did you want to?
Sure. I'd like to thank everybody that came out tonight to speak or observe the deliberations. Thank Mr. Babcock for his confidence.